Oh, I forgot to put
Hey everybody, welcome to Operation Communication. My name is
I
Glenn
forgot to put
Plunkett
my
with Immediate Action Concepts. I'm hosting tonight. With me is Adam Peeney,
information in.
What's up?
as well as Alex Costa from Alex and Ryan Design. So let's start. Adam, you're a regular guest, so we'll get to you last. And I think Nick may be joining us from the road in just a little bit. So Alex, you want to tell us a little bit about Alex and Ryan Design?
Well, this is my second time on Opcom. Last time, well, let's not talk about last time. I'm a small New Hampshire startup. We do 3D printed firearms accessories, 3D printed firearms, knickknacks, jewelry. We also do custom holsters, and we have a couple pieces of tactical gear that we're currently patenting and coming out with. We're also working with Snakehound Machine and a couple other companies to come up with some hand guards and other stuff. So, really small scale, but hoping to do cool things long haul. So,
with the 3D printing, you pretty much you can do whatever you want, though, right? The world's your oyster as far as being able to do stuff that used to be limited to a lot of tools and or CNC, right?
Hello.
Yes. We're probably going to use it mostly for prototyping. We use a third party right now that does all of our. I did. Am I cutting out?
A little bit.
My computer's kind of slow. We use a third-party company. All right. Talk later. Let me see.
I can hear you now. Alex, I can still hear you. Maybe not.
Can
Alex, are you drinking sake again?
Trying to do my tagline because I did it. Good.
You saw that everybody else had the lower third on. All right, Adam, what do you have going on?
Here now.
I have a lot going on. This weekend I'm flying out to Arizona. Following weekend, Michigan. Following week, North Carolina.
No, I'm only doing a 6-pack of PBR.
Shut up! I'm talking, woman. Grown folk in this room. So yeah, lots of travel, lots of work. Work's going really well. We just locked down Glenn as an ADM sponsored shooter. That was a really hard deal to broker. I'm so excited to bring him on board. It's an amazing opportunity for me, my family, and everybody involved. So we're very, very lucky to have Glenn as an ADM shooter. So we're excited. I'm excited. Everybody should be fucking excited.
And I'm excited to be working with you, Adam. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And looking forward to seeing some of your products. And what's on the horizon for you?
Right now we're doing a lot of stuff with the military, getting our mounts on, into that pipeline, and doing some stuff with them, as well as we've got a rifle program releasing, and Alex just got out because he's a nerd, and that's how life is sometimes. But yeah, we've got some recoil stuff coming up. This is the final stages of everything that we've been building up to. So it's like the most hectic time ever, like pulling 12-hour work days and just trying to make sure everything is together. So when stuff comes to market, it's not completely insane.
Now, are you guys currently out there selling your stuff, or is it just kind of in development right now?
Right now we're in the final developing stages. We've got a couple guns out in the world that guys are running and giving us good feedback on, which is pretty nice. It's just this is all the groundwork to hopefully have a successful gun company, which would be pretty sweet. Like, I don't want to work a normal day job. Like, could you imagine me at a McDonald's? That would suck. But I don't want to do anything like that. Like, I just want this to work, and so I can live the cush life, as they say.
Yeah. Well,
if I work and kill myself now, that'll pay off in the end.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. The more work you put on the front end, the more you'll get in the back end. And so you guys are making full-up firearms too, right?
Yep. Complete ambidextrous rifles. We're going to offer full lines of accessories from rails to two-stage match triggers, barrels. My company has it's a big aerospace manufacturing plant, which was pretty cool. And then ADM sprung up off that as a something to do on the side, and we came up with these ideas and wanted to bring them to market, and they brought me in because of my background in history and in the industry, and it's been a wild ride and a lot of fun to see some just ideas go from paper to actually being like given birth as a gun child. Hey, look, somebody's back, probably drunk on sake again.
Oh God, I knew that was good.
Welcome back, Alex.
Yeah, sorry, my computer is having some technical difficulties.
You have worse internet than Steve Fisher does.
And that's bad.
Like, Steve Fisher's internet is fucking... I think it's just one of those, like, wooden boxes with a crank on it, so that way anytime, like, bandwidth drops down, he's like, yeah, and it pops back up.
This computer's from 2006.
Are you kidding me? Dude, I'm running dual Macs right now. I've got a MacBook Pro that's like 2006, and then I've got a brand new MacBook, so don't tell me anything about old computers or using bandwidth.
Oh, it's a fantastic computer. It's just has an overheating issue, and I'm going to blow it out again. It's kind of dusty in here.
I was just about to start making fun of you, and then I realized I bought the laptop that I'm talking on in 2009, so I'm not too far behind you there.
Dude, yeah, you got to go next level and do dual screens. It's like you're like, holy crap! I feel like I'm in the movie Hackers, and especially when you like do finger movements for no reason.
Yeah, if you can get the things that come up in the air, and then you do all that stuff, that the Minority Report stuff. That's really the dream.
I have dual screens, but my laptop screen is dead, so I have it hooked up to a desktop screen.
It doesn't count as two if only one's working.
Yeah, no. So, Glenn, what's going on with you and the training company? What's the good word on the street?
Okay, yeah, so I was filling Adam in a little bit before we went live. So basically, because not a lot, but Adam asked the question, and I imagine somebody out there might be wondering. Basically, earlier this year, I wasn't really ready to launch my company. I've kind of, over the past 2.5 to 3 years, been doing a really slow, soft launch, slowly getting things in place for my training company. And then earlier this year, I had an opportunity to partner with another company, and just sort of, he wanted to get going right away. And he kind of had some of the pieces in place that I didn't, like a website. So I joined forces with him and immediately started trying to field classes and things, but then that didn't really work out. So now I'm back on my own, and I realized I'm not quite there yet. So currently I got someone working on my website, and I'm getting all the pieces in place to be able to take people's money and provide good training. I already have my curriculum. I already have classes developed, and I teach. I'm on active duty with the Air Force, so I teach already. Throughout the year for a pararescue unit. So that's kind of already happening, and now what I'm trying to do is get my own thing going. But I basically, after that partnership dissolved, I just kind of had to throttle back and say, okay, I wasn't really on schedule to launch yet this year anyway, and so now I'm getting stuff ready, and really I want to start offering classes later this year. I've already got to deal with the range. And I'm looking for it's an indoor range, and so I'm looking for another outdoor venue where I can teach longer range stuff as well as more dynamic movement pieces.
That's a great I like it.
So just kind of getting everything in place so that when I do start throwing more classes out there and putting more stuff on the schedule, then I'm ready to support it better. But as far as my training methodology, my curriculum, I've already pretty much got that, although I'm always developing because I'm always learning. And so right now I'm just kind of in a build and learn stage. I just got done with those two Proctor classes back to back, and then I've got a hackathon class coming up next month. So I'm still out there gaining more knowledge and plugging more stuff in that then I can get back to the shooters.
dude, I would kill to take a hackathon class. Like, that guy won't be around, like, training. He'll be around forever because he can't die. But training-wise, you know, time is very limited. So I would punch Alex and his family in the face for that opportunity.
That's pretty brutal.
It's only love. I mean, you've got to be that extreme to punch somebody you love. I mean, me and Alex were Facebook friends.
I think he's one of the legends that's still teaching out there, who's still current. I mean, there's some legends teaching out there that their stuff isn't all that current, but Hackathorn's one of the ones he's still managed to keep current, and he's just been doing it forever. And yeah, really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, do you have the Tactical Ninja Ranger class? I want to know, maybe I could sign up with that one if that was available.
Am I going to be offering that?
Yeah, I mean, everybody needs a Tactical Ninja Ranger DevGru SEAL Team 8 Delta class.
Right, and that's definitely going to be on the schedule. But there's going to be some prerequisites you got to take. Some of them, like learning to shoot and operate your gun safely. Those are some good ones. And then not driving minivans in front of the firing line is another prerequisite.
Like, can I jam AC/DC while not doing those things?
That's right.
I have a question about vehicle stuff. I just did a weaponcraft vehicle course, and I posted a couple of videos on Instagram. And so we don't fuck up the car or the truck, you know, Nick asked us, you know, shut the doors. You know, as you exit the vehicle, shut the door and continue shooting, and it doesn't obstruct your view. You have more metal between you and the, you know, contact, and you can get behind like the rear corners of the car. So many people are like, why don't you leave the door open? Well, the argument is, well, the door is not going to add much stopping power to the round, but Bam, Brian from Wishes for Warriors was like, oh, rule 1 is leave the doors open when you deploy from a vehicle. So my personal question to you guys is, do you shut the door or leave the door open?
I will divert to Glenn because he probably knows a lot more about this. I've taken one vehicle class, and I have to say, like, shooting around vehicles, my favorite position is what I've always been called was shooting out of the V, which is actually shooting from the cruck of the door to the A-pillar. As soon as you open up, gun through that cruck and just stare around it.
Well, we did that. We did that when you first opened the door. So you do butt out, put your rifle or your pistol in the V of the mirror in the A-pillar, shoot 5 rounds from that, open the door, then put your foot on the door to give it stabilization, then shoot through the V, or standing shoot from the V, and then as you move to the rear of the vehicle, because you want to get ultimate cover and put the most distance between you and the contact, that's when we were told to shut the door. So that was my question.
Well, a lot of the vehicle stuff I've done has been military armored, you know, Humvees and MRAPs, and with those you want to close the door because it offers protection to the machine gunner's legs, basically. If there's still a guy in the vehicle, in the turret, and the driver, you don't want to leave doors open in places for bullets to get to him. But as far as moving around a thin-skinned, you know, regular car or truck, you know, I think really you're probably not going to want to hang out in the open door, so I don't see any harm in closing that door because you're going somewhere. You got out of the car for a reason. Otherwise, you just stay in the car and drive away. And so you've got somewhere that you've got to be. The car's not moving anymore, or you need to move. And so I think getting the door out of the way is fine. It offers minimal cover. I know sometimes the bullets will penetrate, sometimes they won't, and so you'll get a little bit of protection by leaving it open and hiding behind it, but not much and not for long. So I don't think there's any big problem with closing the door, but there's definitely people out there that have done a lot more shooting in and around cars than me, who could speak more intelligently to that.
Was it Nick's truck that you were shooting around?
No, it was two loaner vehicle, like two beat up vehicles that
shot through the door for the fun of it.
No, because if you shot through the door, he would make you pick up a small rock, sign your name on it, and you would have to run a mile to the front gate. Well, half a mile to the front gate, then half a mile back, and he picked up all the rocks at the end of the day. So,
yeah, you know what I would have done is I would have like picked up the rocks, signed it, thrown it through the window, and be like, yeah, you run that mile.
Well, basically, it was kind of funny because there was a lot of people that ran the mile that probably shouldn't have, because it was a pretty hot day. It was about 94, and a couple of gentlemen, one guy, yeah, he was in the shoot house with like heat exhaustion afterwards, and then another guy ran it, and he had a torn ACL, and instead of saying, "Hey, I have a torn ACL, I shouldn't be doing this," he ran it anyway, and he ended up in the van with heat exhaustion, stripped down naked. So, yeah. And that guy with the torn ACL also flagged us with a live weapon like probably 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, it's a little tough in classes, especially more advanced classes when it's open enrollment and you just don't really know. People may have taken courses before, but that doesn't mean they necessarily learned a lot, and so it can definitely, when you get into the more complex type of movements and skills, it can get a little sketchier at times. So I guess just try and keep an eye on your fellow shooters, but mostly keep an eye on yourself. And if everybody did that, you'd be all right.
Yeah, I like a TRP being pointed straight at me as a large gentleman crawling across a seat in a car deploys with his finger almost on the trigger, with it already unholstered in the vehicle. That was always fun.
Dude, that's living right there. I mean, you can't even buy that kind of adrenaline rush to have some turd stick a hot gun in your face and be like, is this thing on?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh man, it's a 1911, so you could brush the safety off. And I probably would have ran a plate carrier that day, but it was 94 degrees, and you know how that's going to work. So, too hot for a plate carrier, because, yeah.
So in that moment, were you rethinking that whole decision-making process?
No. I was just kind of like laughing the whole time as it happened, because I'm just like, well, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Man.
Not really scared, just more like, all right, buddy, you need to relax.
Yeah, I'm excited. In the next month, I'm going to the Steve Fisher 1911 class, and then I'm doing the MDFI class, the one they're doing in the Shoot House in Alliance, like right after that. So that's gonna be pretty kick fucking ass.
So speaking of Steve Fisher, did you guys see that video that they got out now from him?
Yeah, stuff? Dude, that thing is so legitly awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
I haven't seen this.
I saw that and sent him a text, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing that.
Well, Alex, you should watch it because it shows an alternative to pointing the gun at the other guy with you in the car that's actually pretty good. It's a pretty good way to get the gun out and get it into action without pointing it at your fellow carpoolers.
You talking about Temple Index?
Yeah.
That
Is this a YouTube thing? I can just like YouTube later?
Yeah, I'll tag you in a link. But yeah, the guy who was talking to that, his name's Will Petty. He's another awesome dude. He's been running our mounts for a while, but yeah, he's been the big proponent of that because I never saw it until Will started using it, and it's like that's such common sense. I mean, you put it up, touch it to your forehead, and it can't go anywhere fucking dangerous, and you have a whole arm free to use as opposed to using Sul or tied up in your chest with isosceles. It's something neat and something that I've been using, especially anytime you move, it goes straight up. Especially in an outdoor range where that's theoretically a safe place unless God wants to punch you that day. So I think it's probably the smartest way to move with a handgun currently until we develop lightsabers.
Yeah, and I've been a big fan for quite a while of moving at a high port or a high ready, with the pistol just right here oriented up. It's pretty easy to deconflict everybody around you by just elevating that muzzle. But what I like about the Temple Index is if you're trying to open doors or steer, or not steer, but manipulate door handles and things like that, it kind of gives a little bit more security than the gun floating out here one-handed. So I think it's a really cool kind of adaptation. It looks a little funny the first couple times you see it, but then you see someone getting in or out of a car, and you're like, holy crap, that guy's not going to point the gun at me when he's getting in and out of the car doing that. So that's cool.
I like that idea. I'm just visualizing that in my head.
Here,
someone running that.
This is how it's done. You sit there, the gun's out, you bring it straight up.
Okay. I also like your your stovepiper there.
What are you talking about? This heater's the freshest thing on the world.
Is that an SAI right there?
Fuck no, I don't. I rock guns that work. I don't shoot garbage.
Oh, thank God. I was giving Nick from Weapon Grounds so much shit, right? He's running his SAI, teaching the course, and it's stovepiped probably 12 times. And then he's running it, and so there's a guy, and he had some mag bottoms on his Glock that were aftermarket crappy plastic ones. He slams the mag in and blows the bottom off his .45 Glock. So someone goes, Nick, throw him your SAI. He throws it to him, and he's so used to shooting that .45 that he was limp wristing the SAI 17, and it was stovepiping every shot. So every shot he would rack, and he would rack out like 5 loaded rounds. It was the funniest scene at the end of the day. And every time he shot it would stovepipe, and then he passed it to Nick, and he's like, your $3,000 piece of equipment is malfunctioning, and Nick fired it and it stovepiped. Oh, man.
Yeah, no,
Everybody, Solo
we give him
Defense.
shit for the rest of the day.
Solo Defense just joined us. What's up?
What's going on, guys?
he was
This
trying
is
to.
what This is what happens when freaking Adam freaking talks crap.
Yeah, he was trying to give me some sob story, and I was like, dude, don't even lie. Just come on.
Hey, I want to get to you in just a minute, Solo, because I know there's some things you did over the weekend we want to talk about.
Okay.
Brandon asked on the external, he said, who in real life is going to deploy from a vehicle? Self-defense makes sense, target shooting I love. Are you going to drive up to a gunfight? And are you going to a gunfight in the first place? I think it would be, why are you going to the gunfight in the first place? So
I think
really,
that's
the way I see that playing out in a armed citizen personal defense type situation is really if something happens when you're on the road and the car is disabled, either it could be as simple as an ambush. Someone put a tree across the road. You're out in the back country. That's really like I said before. Why are you opening the door? Just drive away or run over the person if you can. But I could see it not being an option. And if it suddenly becomes not an option, I'd like to have some plan of what to do when the car driving away in the car is no longer an issue. So I'm not thinking about like loading up all my bros and going to start a gunfight with Solo over there in North Carolina, but more like what if something happened while I'm driving, and do I have the tools to deal with that? So that's really why and who I could see deploying from a vehicle that's outside like a law enforcement or military type role. You guys got anything to add on that?
I think you pretty much covered it. It's going to be one of those, what happens if type of scenarios. It's not something that I think people really train to be like, we're getting in our freaking bug out vehicle and trying to find something. But, you need to learn you kind of train and learn how to work around your home and where you are. Right? So, I mean, we spend a lot of time in our vehicles, every week, driving to work, from work, wherever we're going. I mean, we spend a bunch of time behind the wheel. So it would behoove us to know kind of the ins and outs of how to work around it if we had to. So,
yeah, and it's really kind of a worst case thing. Like you could even think of a social disorder type situation, like if there's a natural disaster or something, and everybody's on the road, and you just got in the middle of it, and now someone pulled in behind you, you can't move, and something bad's happening. There's bad people right where you happen to get stopped. So
yeah.
For somebody like me, I'm constantly on the road for work. It's actually a very applicable skill to have. Like for me, I would rank it as weapons manipulation classes would be 1. Home defense class would probably be 2, like some type of shoot house, and then cars would be 3 in the hierarchy of where I would actually train because of how my day-to-day life is. I carry a handgun every day, and when I'm traveling for work, I spend 90% of my time in a car. If I'm someplace and we'll say I'm in downtown Atlanta, somebody comes up and tries to destroy my car or tries to assault me through the vehicle and I can't move, I need to be able to open the door, punch gun out, and know how to work it.
I I agree. That's why I took that vehicle course with Weaponcraft, just because I live in the city in New Hampshire, like the only city in New Hampshire, and
Have crime in New Hampshire? Like, that's not even a fair assessment.
it's pretty decent sized city, and I mean I live it's a rural and or not rural, it's a pretty city environment, and I thought if you look around my street, I mean the houses are on lots that are like less than a quarter acre. So the only cover that you really have are vehicles, and I'm in my car for the better part of the day when I'm going to and from work. So operating in and around vehicles was very important to me, just because if I ever had to leave the city in an emergency, it's gonna be gridlock. I'm gonna be stuck. I'm gonna need those skills, and I had a good idea going into it, working around vehicles, but I mean I learned a lot. I had a fantastic time, and I carry differently now. I used to only carry one mag, just keep one mag in the gun to and from work, but now I bring two, and I have my in the car mag and outside of the car mag. So just because of the auto glass, and I used to carry a 40, but my summer carry is a 9mm. So
You want to know the ultimate tool that'll save your life in a car?
what? An airbag?
Toblerone, bro.
Survival situation, that'll keep you alive for days.
Dude, somebody comes up and they're like, bro, give me your car, like, how about I give you this nice Swiss chocolate? They can't say no to that shit.
Oh, man.
I have a
All
friend,
right, so Solo, you just did a whole bunch of shooting and being shot last weekend. How'd that go?
It went good. It went good. I didn't get to partake as much in the class as I had hoped. He ended up actually overbooking the class. So I mean, we had a bunch of people there ready to go, and I felt it was kind of my place to step aside and let the people that actually paid to be there get the most out of the class. But the times that I did get to actually go live and shoot people or get shot, it was I had a great time. Definitely learned some stuff. That class, I mean, other than there was a lot of awesome information shared. Nothing that surprised me, but that's simply because I spend hours each week listening to instructors teach this stuff in my downtime. But for somebody that had never taken any of this training before, it was a lot of great information shared in a very professional way. The first half of the day was lecture and some science stuff, and then they got to go see, basically they did a lot of learning about what their capabilities were, how they were going to react, and how things kind of play out once you actually get to press the trigger on something other than paper, because I mean it changes things. And for me, as much training as I do, I will say that just getting over that initial weirdness of actually pointing a firearm at an individual and actually pressing the trigger and being okay with it, it is different. I mean, even when we were here at the house doing some force-on-force stuff for YouTube, like, I've never been, other than, airsoft, which is, I mean, say what you want to say, but, I had never actually taken a realistic type firearm and been able to shoot at somebody else. So it was definitely a learning experience in that right for me, and I'm glad I had that, and I definitely want to do some more force-on-force training now that I've been through some of it.
Now, be honest. The first time in a scenario type environment that you shot, how much were you aware of whether or not you saw the sights?
Honestly, I mean, and we do this. We do a lot of shooting and training. Depending on where what the distance was, I wasn't looking for sights. It was already a conscious decision on my part when it came to that. I mean, I understand that, if someone had told me to try to look for the sites, it would have definitely had slowed my process, down, my decision making and the scenario. But I was confident enough in my skill level on the fundamental side to intuitively shoot, I guess you could call it.
Yeah,
and know I was getting my hit. So I didn't even really try to actually, make a judgment shoot at all.
Yeah, and I know you train the kinesthetic shooting, which I think is a great idea as well. I guess more to the point, like, that first time through with your adrenaline kind of up, did you notice that, like, afterwards you're like, I'm not exactly sure what I just did?
It's gonna sound arrogant, but no. I mean, for what I did, I still feel that to a certain extent that I was still able, I guess, on some subconscious level to game it to a certain extent. There was no actual fear of force or fear of lethal force, and so to me at that point, it just became a timing thing. Can I do what I need to do in the time allotted before he breaks a certain threshold? So, it kind of just leads into, it is reality based. There is a certain element of reality that is, that comes with force on force, but at the same time, you have to realize that just because you can do this in this environment, you shouldn't holster up and just stop doing everything else after that, thinking you've come through that scenario, because there's definitely going to be a world of other things that you'll be thinking about in an actual life and death scenario versus a role-played force-on-force encounter. You can definitely get your heart rate up, but I never experienced that the element of fear, that people are going to have in that actual moment.
Yeah, that's kind of tough to replicate in training, and depending on the kind of level of complexity. If it's a really simple scenario, it's really hard to get that.
Yeah.
So what are some really big takeaways that you had?
Honestly, the biggest thing for me was the fact that you broke that threshold of actually pressing a shot on somebody. And knowing that you can get it out and get the work done in that amount of time. Also, judging some distances with where you actually feel comfortable with verbal commands. I know he just did a YouTube video on that. But like I say, a lot of this for me is stuff that I have actually heard. I've got the Cowan's his defensive pistol DVD, so I've got that for reference. I'll do a lot of stuff on YouTube, obviously. So a lot of the information I've been poring over for months anyway, but it's definitely something that I think everybody that wants to carry, it would definitely benefit them, because you actually get to break off of the square range for a minute and actually start thinking about it. Because even though it is a closed course, even though it is all safe and you can still kind of game it, there's a certain element of decision making that has to go on that he's able to put you through with actual scenarios. None of the scenarios are unwinnable, as he says, but your decision making will come into play there. So he kind of opens that door to interpretation. So I mean, I think it's a huge tool for defensive firearms training. I think everybody that carries a firearm and can get into something like this should. So we're definitely going to be hosting him again for another force-on-force class soon.
Yeah, well, I totally, I got to agree with you. I think it's critical to get off the range and get into more reality-based, scenario-based. And my experience being involved more on the the trainer end of quite a bit of that was not all students were as cool as a cucumber like you seem to have been, and we had a lot of people who just really, even though it was everybody was wearing the same gear and it was a small scenario, people just really kind of got into it and got kind of freaked out, and it was really healthy. Like that's good. That gives you that stress inoculation, and the next time it happens to them, they won't have that. And a lot of times we ran people through the same scenario multiple times, and they would do so much better after that initial freak out.
Right, yeah. And we definitely had some of that. We had definitely a varying of age in the class, for one. We had a couple minors. I mean, their parents stayed on site the entire time and was watching. One of which has come through several of our classes, and he did great. And one of his friends. So I mean, we had young and old come to this class, and I think it was awesome to see the diversity and the skill level that actually came through with some of the people that actually surprised me.
Yeah, well, young people, they're probably just used to first-person shooters, so they can totally just get right into it.
There you go.
They're like, this is the best video game ever.
Right? Yeah, that's probably where they went with that, because they were definitely. One of them was a father and son that took it, and it was fun watching those guys be on the opposite ends of the spectrum in the scenarios. So I'm sure they had fun shooting each other on that.
Yo, I would pay for that just so I could burn my pops down. That would be awesome.
Yeah. One thing I did notice is when you were talking about verbal commands, I mean, nobody wants to actually have to shoot somebody if you can talk them down and talk the situation down without the use of lethal force. And I don't know if it was just because it was a class. I don't know if it was because they were, I guess you could say shy to a certain point, or they were just going through the motions. But everybody seemed to be very docile whenever they were telling people to, giving verbal commands before they actually had to shoot somebody. I went balls to the wall. Like, I was in that moment. And I got some funny looks, obviously, but I just don't see it being realistic to calmly tell somebody to put the gun down before they shoot me.
I think there's more training value in that, what you're saying, in actually going after it like it's for real and all the marbles are on the table. Because if you mess around and mush mouth it or talk real quiet in training, what's the likelihood that you're going to get it right in a real situation? So I think, yeah, absolutely. Everybody says train how you fight. Well, that's a real example. You should train how you fight, and don't be afraid to use your outdoor voice.
Outdoor voice.
Y'all froze up on me for a minute. I didn't hear anything past whatever that was.
Well, I just said there's a lot of value in going after it full volume, because if it's train how you fight, and
yeah, absolutely,
that's good, and that's what people should be doing.
Yeah, Adam, what have you done as far as force? Have you done any force on force with anyone? Have you trained anything about any force on force stuff?
No, I've never had the option to.
Dude, you need to. It's freaking fun as crap.
Dude, I'm going to be on the road for the next 8 weeks, so...
Well, some people live the good life. I mean, some people just have the Vice President of Americans...
you can't even say it! You suck at life!
I can't read it. It was below the screen.
Oh, okay, so you have to...
Adam, you break my computer when you yell.
Wow, I thought we were much closer friends than that. Suddenly signing Glenn.
I don't even know what you do for a living because you unfollowed me on Instagram, so...
Again, start posting cool shit and I will refollow you.
Sorry, I don't have the shit that's at the caliber that you shit.
I can't help it. I wake up every morning, I fucking piss excellence and shit greatness. I can't help that. That was something that my father bred into me, and it's just the way life is.
You can always just Instagram your dinner. There's lots of people out there doing that.
Food porn, hashtag food porn, hashtag hipster metrosexual.
Hashtag stop hashtagging. Yeah.
Hashtag paleo.
Aaron,
Um,
end of August, you should come up for the MDFI Shoothouse class.
Where is that at?
who are you talking about?
Alliance, Ohio.
Jeez. Dude, that'd be freaking sick.
Yeah, I'm going there. The first day I'm taking Steve Fisher's 1911 class, and then the following 2 days are going to be Shoothouse class with low light at the end of both days. So you're basically shooting from like 8 in the morning till midnight.
Jeez. Yeah, I need more. I need some ammo.
It's all right. I'm sure there's an ammo company that's semi-local to you that makes very high-quality remanufactured 9mm. Just saying.
I've actually heard of those guys.
I've got to order. I think I'm going to order probably like 1,500 rounds from them because I'm going to shoot the fuck out of that class. And the nice thing is you don't need a helmet. All you need is a carrier and armor.
Really? Nice.
Any Shoothouse class, you got to roll armor, dude.
That makes sense. Honestly.
But yeah, I mean, Alliance is like the pinnacle of Shoothouse training right now, so to be able to slide into that and go shoot there is going to be pretty fucking intense.
No kidding. That'd be freaking sick, dude.
Hey, so speaking of the verbal commands, I saw the video that Aaron Cowan posted that you helped out with, and that's really good. Good stuff. Props to Solar Defense for getting mentioned in that.
Yeah, I wish I had actually said so. He's like, dude, feel free to throw your 2 cents worth in here, but like everything I would have covered, he was saying it like more articulately than I would have been able to. So I was just like, I'm gonna stand here, and when he tells me I can shoot him, I'm just gonna shoot him. So that was pretty much the way that video. And honestly, the video started off. It was gonna be like a 5 or 6 minute video, but apparently I'm not the only person that gets long-winded. So turned it to a 12-minute video.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, verbal commands? Oh, I'm so bad at them.
Yeah.
I read that vehicle course. We had 2-man teams, and I was yelling unicorn for almost everything.
Unicorn.
Literally, if you watch the Instagram videos from like a month ago, or our Facebook videos, literally I'm pounding the back of the vehicle yelling unicorn.
Is unicorn your safe word?
It was our safe word. It worked. I felt safe.
Well, that's all it means.
I also have DMO Knives making me a unicorn killer knife that has rainbow tassels coming out the back and a rainbow Cerakoted blade. So when they grind it, it looks like a rainbow. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm special.
Wow, you know they have a parade in New York one day a year for that kind of stuff.
I don't think you understand. It's going to have an airbrushed blade that makes it look like it's a horn. It's got a G10 blood and bone handle, and it's going to have probably a tuft of white fur around it, like it was its hide or its mane. Clint from Nemo is a little jealous, so you tell him that that's a parade for him. I don't think he'll like you.
Clint's a nice guy. I literally met him for like 5 seconds at NRA show, and he was like the super coolest guy I met. I was like, wow, he's like ridiculously nice.
He drives a bagged delivery truck. That's badass.
I guess.
Do you have a bagged battle wagon?
No, I'm driving a lifted Dodge 2400 diesel with a Bully Dog kit and 5-inch exhaust. So.
Oh, but you drive a Dodge.
Well, I mean, as long as it has the Cummins, it's okay.
It's called free, homeboy, free.
Dude, I build
There's some things I
Dodge
wouldn't.
Seals.
Did anybody see the link I just put up about these 2 people in Jersey?
I'll probably lag out if I click it.
I'm trying.
Ultimately, what it comes down to is 2 like anti-gunners. Somebody broke into their crib, beat the shit out of the guy, raped the chick, and now they're like, "Oh, we're buying a gun to protect ourselves." It's like if you would have just came to that normal human thinking, even a week before that happened, you might not have gotten beaten up and raped.
Yeah. Yep.
You put
I
it
mean-
pretty harshly, but I think that was necessary.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, seriously, like the story was harsh. It's not the way he played it. The story was harsh. I mean, who? I don't know. That's a hard way to learn. But I mean, why would it take that much to finally be like, oh, that's why?
It definitely sucks that happened to them, and that's a hard way to get to that conclusion.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm glad that they actually did get to that conclusion. I guess I mean, yeah. I felt insensitive there for a moment.
All right, guys. Well, I think we're just about out of time. Any parting words of wisdom? It looks like Adam bailed early.
Yeah, he's like, I'm out of here.
Solo, you got anything on the way out the door?
I was thinking, I don't have anything. Train hard, train safe. You gotta, yeah. Oh man,
You got some classes coming up, right?
I do. We've got a handgun 1 in September. It'll be September 13th. We've got a handgun 2.5. The only way to get into a 2.5 class is to have taken a handgun 2, and all of our 2.5 classes are going to be charity based. So if we have a 2.5, it's for a good cause, and this one is actually already full. We're going to be donating half the tuition to Wishes for Warriors. This will be on August 23rd. And I started. I put it on Instagram, and the class filled up. Actually, it overfilled in less than 5 hours. So that was kind of cool.
Thank you for donating for Wishes for Warriors. We've been donating to them for quite a few months.
Oh yeah, I've already bought a T-shirt to wear that day. I'm trying to get everybody else to wear to buy some T-shirts to wear to the class that day too. You know,
I should send you some stuff. I did a bunch, like on my website. I have Wishes for Warriors money and tie clips.
Oh,
And
nice, dude.
It's their logo, and 100% of the profits always benefit them. We haven't sold one in a while. I'm trying to get Brian to advertise them, but he never really does. But they're there. So when we do, we
Nice,
send
dude.
you profit checks.
Nice. Need to check that out.
Yeah.
All right. So, Alex, you got any parting words for us?
Sorry I didn't drink sake tonight, guys.
That's between you and Adam.
Yeah.
No, that's not. It's between me and Garrett.
Oh.
Every night video game, almost every night that he's free, and every single night he's asking me if I'm drinking sake, so he doesn't let it go.
All right. Well, with that, next
Yeah.
week, hopefully it'll be a more robust short bus. But thanks for joining us, and we'll see you around.